So today we're gonna learn about right. Today we are going to learn about control statements. Right, we're gonna learn about control statements. Okay, we're gonna learn about control statements. So what is the use of control statement? So the first question to all of us will come is, what is the need of control statements, right? So basically, these are also called as decision making statements, right? These are also called as decision making statements. Okay. So these statements, right? These statements means control the execution flow of the execution flow of program, right? These statements control the execution flow of a program. Now in this one we have many types. The first one is if statement. The first one is if statement. Okay, so what is the use of this if statement, right? Okay, it is most simple decision making statement. Simple decision making statement. This is the most simple decision making statement. Okay, now, right, so this statement accepts a boolean value, right? If you look at the syntax, right, okay, if you look at the syntax, if followed by condition, right, followed by condition, and then body of the if, okay, statement. So followed by next statement, followed by next statement. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of if condition, right? So what exactly happens here, right? If you look at this, right, if the condition is true, if the condition is true, it will execute all the statements which are present inside the body of if. Okay, which are present inside the body of if. Okay, now if you look closely, right, you can see that, right, so this is the body of if. Okay, now if the condition is a true, then statements will be executed. After that it will come out and continues with next statement. Now if you want to learn this in a better way, right, you need to go through the flow chart. So for decision making we will draw this, right? So inside this you will have something called as condition. Okay, now if the condition is true, if the condition is true, then you will execute set of statements, right? Set of statements. So if the condition is true, okay, you will execute set of statements. Now if the condition is false, right, then what you will do, right, you will come out, right, then you will come out and continue with next statement. You will continue with next statement. Okay, next statement. This is the execution flow of, right, if else. So when the control comes to if condition, when the control comes to if condition, it will check the condition. If condition is a true, then statements will be executed. After that it will come to next statement. Now if the condition is false, it will skip the execution of statements and it will directly go to the next statement. I hope you are clear with this first one. Okay, you can understand there with the flow chart. Now we are going with the second one, that is if else. Second one is if else statement. Now, okay, now one more thing that we need to understand here is one more thing that we need to understand is this statement, right? This statement, right, executes at least one block, at least one block. So here what happens is decision making. So this is usually used when you want to execute, when you want to execute, right, one set of statements if the condition is a true, right, and another set of statements if the condition is false. So this is the condition you have. Okay, inside this you'll have set of statements. Let's call it as statements 1. Else you will have, right, set of statements in that block, else block, that is 2. Okay, let's call it as statement 2. Now after executing this, the control will directly go to the next statement. So basically what I'm trying to convey here is if the condition is a true, then statements 1 will be executed. If the condition is false, then if the condition is false, then statement 2 will be executed. In any situation, you will execute either statement 1 or statement 2. At least one block will be executed. In such situations, we need to make use of if else. Okay. So if you look at the flowchart of this, if you look at the flowchart of this, you have a decision making. Okay, if it is true, okay, if it is true, you will execute one set of statements. If it is false, you will execute another set of statements, right? So you can have a condition here. Okay, if it is true, you will execute statement 1, and if it is false, you will execute another statement, that is in the else block, statement 2. After executing any of these, the control will go to next statement. Control will go to next statement, right? So this must be used when you have, right, when you want to execute at least one block. If the condition is true, you will do one job. If condition is false, you will do another job. In such situations, we need to make use of if else statement. Okay, now we'll come to the next part. We will come to the next part. I will do it China today. Okay, now, right, now third one. Okay, third one. Okay, third one is, right, nested if else. Nested if else. What is the meaning of nested? The meaning of nested is one inside another. One inside another. So that is called as nested if else, right? This statement is used. This statement is used, is used, right? This statement is used when we are comparing, when we are comparing more than two datas, right? For example, largest of three numbers, largest of three numbers. Okay. Now let's look at the syntax of this. Okay. Let's look at the syntax of this. Now, okay. Let me write the syntax here. If followed by condition 1, if the condition is true, inside the if block, you will have one set of if else. You will have one set of if else statements 1, okay, else statements 2. Now, this is the if block. You will have one set of if else inside a if block, and also you can have one set of if else inside, right, the else block also. If condition 3, if condition 3 it is true, statement 1, sorry, statement 3, else you will have, right, statement 4. Okay, statement 4. After executing any of the block, after executing any of the block, control will automatically continue with the next part of program, which we call it as next statement. So this is the, right, this is the syntax of, right, nested if else. Now you need to understand, right, here I'll write one table here so that you can understand. Okay, right, if you want the statement 1 as a output, if you want statement 1 as a output, then condition 1 and condition 2 must be true. Both must be true. Condition 1 and condition 2 both must be true. This is true, this is true, then only this will get executed. Okay, now if you want the output as statement 2, I want the statement 2 as a output. So first condition must be true, second condition must be false, then statement 2 will be executed. Okay, so condition 1 true, okay, and condition 2 must be false, then you will get the statement 2 as a output. Now I want the statement 3 as a output. When will I get statement 3 as a output, or when does this will be executed? This will be executed, like for example, statement 3. Okay, so condition 1 must be false, okay, and condition 3 must be true, right? So condition 1 must be false. If it is false, it will come to else part. It will come to else part. Okay, it will come to else part. In else part, this condition must be true. So if it is true, then statement 3 will be executed. Now if you want, now if you want statement 4 as an output, right, condition 1 must be false, right, comma, condition 3 must be false. So if condition 1 is false, automatically control will come to else block. And if the condition 3 is also false, then this block will be executed. Statement 4. After executing any of the block, automatically control will continue with next statements. Are you understanding this? Is everybody clear till this point? Okay. Yes, you can, Gavin. Yes, you can add any number of, right? What you call any number of if else inside another, one inside another. It depends upon the student requirement. Okay, it depends upon student requirement. Now, if you go with a flow chart, okay, if you go with a flow chart, one second. Okay, if you go with the or look at the flow chart, okay, if you look at the flow chart, right, nested if else. So you will have the first condition here, okay, this will be condition 1, okay, this is the entry point. Now, if the condition 1 is true, if the condition 1 is true, right, if the condition 1 is true, you will have another condition to check here. You will have another condition to check here, that is condition 2. Okay, if the condition 1 is a true, then only the control will come to this point, then only the control will come to this point. Now, if the condition is true here also, if the condition is true here also, then you will execute statement 1. So here it is true. Okay, now if the condition is false, right, another set of statements you will execute, another set of statements you will execute if it is false, that is, right, statement 2. Right now, right now, if the condition 1 is false, if the condition 1 is false, then you will have another condition here, that is it will go to the else block, that it will go to the else block, and in the else block you have condition 3. Now, if the condition is a true on this side, if the condition is a true on this side, you will execute statement 3. Okay, this will be true. Okay, and this side, right, you will have, if the condition is false, right, okay, the statement 4 will be executed, statement 4 will be executed. Now the question comes is, after executing all the statements, right, after executing all the statements, right, after executing all the statements, the control will go to next statement. Okay, the control will go to next statement, next statement. This is the working flow of, right, nested if else. Okay, are you clear on this part? Okay, okay, any doubts here? No, next statement, see, next statement means, I'll write down here, next statement means remaining part of the code, remaining part of program, that we call it as, right, next statement. Are you clear on this? Shine, we will do that prime number example. Okay, okay, so after this the next one comes is, right, Next one comes is if, right? The next one comes is if, else, if, ladder. So everybody knows what is the meaning of ladder. Okay, right? Ladder means, right? Okay, right? Any. In Kannada we call it any, right? In Hindi we call it as CDM, correct? So basically the syntax of this. Before going to syntax, let us understand when we use it, right? It is used. It is used when we are checking multiple conditions, checking multiple conditions on single data, on single data. Best example is grading system. Grading system. Suppose if I give the input as marks, now I need to decide the candidate is having first class with distinction or only first class or second class or a fail, right? So those kind of things we use, right? If else if ladder, or else if ladder also we call it. Okay, now if you look at the syntax here, right? If you look at the syntax here, okay, if condition 1 opening bracket set of statements, right, close it. If this condition fails, the control will go to else block. Now in the else again I can write one more condition, right? I can write one more condition like condition 2, right? If it is true, statement, right, 2 will be executed. So like this you can have any number of else if. Like this you can have any number of else if. Now in the end you can write it as else block. You can write an else block. In the end you can write else block. Okay, it depends upon the user whether he is requiring it or not. Now a note to remember. Okay, else block, else block in last, else block in last is optional. See, it is based on your requirement, right? Else block in the last is, right, optional. It is, right, depends upon the user. Now if the first condition is true, then statement 1 will be executed. After that the control will come to next statement. Okay, now if the first condition fails, then it checks a second condition. If it is true, statement 2 will be executed. If this also fails, right, then it will keep on checking the next one. If all condition fails, if all the conditions which we have written fail, then the control goes to, right, else block, which is statement n. And that else block is optional. A user can write by his own. Okay, so you'll have a series of conditions, right? You will have series of conditions like this. Okay, so here the first control enters here the first condition, right? If it is true, if it is true, then statements 1 will be executed. Statement 1 will be executed. If it is a false, right, if it is false, then it will check another condition. Okay, one second, I had to draw this here. Okay, then if it is true, you will check another condition, that is condition 2. If condition 2 is true, statements 2 will be executed, right? All of them will get connected here. If every condition fails, then you can have an else block, right? Statement n. You can have any number of conditions. After that, it continues with next statements or remaining part of the code. After that, it continues with next, okay, next statement, right? This is usually used when you have single data and you want to check multiple conditions. That time we will use this. One second. Okay. Sorry, I had some internet problem, so that is why I had called somebody. Hmm. Now let us start writing a few examples. Right? Let us start writing few example. Example one. Okay. Program to find largest of two numbers. Okay. Second example, program to find largest of three numbers, right? Next example, right? Program to find grade of a student. Find grade, right? Grade, grade of student. Okay. So let's see here how this can be, right? Okay. How we can write a program for all of this. Can we start looking at these things? Okay. Now, so let's start working on this GDB online compiler. Okay. Now, else condition, it is optional. If the user, if your logic requires else block, you can write it. If it doesn't require, then you can skip it. So what is the first program we are gonna write here, right? Find largest of two numbers. Okay. So how many inputs are required? We require how many inputs are required for this program? Input. How many inputs are required for this program? I'll give you two numbers. Find the largest. So here what we're gonna do is we need to declare, right, two variables int a and b and one variable to hold largest. Okay. So after that, after declaration, the second step is read input. Enter two numbers. Okay. Scanf percentage d double quote comma ampersand a comma ampersand b. So we got two numbers here. Once we got right two numbers, the next is, see, first step is declaring variables. Second step is reading inputs. Next is computing the task. How do we decide if a greater than b? Then which one will be largest here? A will be largest. Else, right? Else largest is equal to b. Okay. Once this decision is done, then you can print the result. Largest is equal to percentage d double quote comma largest. Or you can print a message largest of percentage d and percentage d is equal to. So for first percentage d, you can print a value. Second percentage d, you can print b value. And for the third percentage d, you can print the result, right? So this is how you write the program, right? Okay. So I'll repeat again: declaration, reading input, computing the task, and printing the result, right? So this is how you write a program for the, right, largest of two numbers. Okay. Now if I have to go for finding the largest of three numbers, right? If I have to go for the finding the largest of three numbers, how many inputs are required now? I want to write a program to find the largest of three numbers. How many inputs we should give? How many input we should give? Largest of three numbers. So we need to give three inputs. Gavin, Srinidhi, not variables. I'm talking about inputs. I'm not talking about variable. I am asking you how many numbers. If I tell you to find the largest of three numbers, what should I give you? I should give you three numbers, right? I should give you three numbers, right? Then only you can find. So let's change this: largest of three numbers. So here now we need three variables for reading the input and one variable for storing the result. So now instead of entering two numbers, we need to enter three numbers. So percentage %d, double quote, and here ampersand c. So we got the three numbers. Okay, we got three numbers. What is the first thing? Now I will compare a with b. Okay, I will compare a with b. If it is true, then only the execution control will come inside the if block. Now what we will do, if a is also greater than c, right? If a greater than b is true, then I will compare a value with c, right? So if it is true, I'll print, sorry, I'll not print, I'll just find the largest is equal to a. If this condition fails, then obviously largest is equal to c. So if a is greater than b, then check a is greater than c also. If it is true, largest will be a. If it is false, the largest will be c. If the first condition fails, if the first condition fails, right? First condition fails, then we need to check b is greater than c. Because first condition will fail only if b is greater than a. Then you come to the else block, and check if b is greater than c. If it is greater than c, largest will be equal to b, else largest is equal to c. So once you finish with this, then you print the result. Then you print the largest of percentage %d, comma, percentage %d and percentage %d is equal to. So I need to print three variables. Are you understanding this? Is everybody clear on this logic? All of you, all three of you, are you clear with this logic? Gavin is clear. What about Srinidhi and China? Srinidhi and China, all three are clear. Chalo. Now, right, this is the code what we have written for finding the largest of three numbers. Okay, I'll just paste it here. And this also contains what you call a question in the top. Okay, now we will go with the third one to find, right? Let's delete this. I want to find, right, or I want to find the grade of, find the grade of student for given marks. Okay, now hash include stdio.h int main opening bracket, then return 0. So first I have written this. So first of all we need to understand here. Okay, so the basic steps for every program is declare variables, read input, compute the task, and print the result. Now how we write, what are the types of inputs we require? We require one input called as marks. Okay, now this should be compared with the different grading system values. Okay, so I need only one input called as marks. Okay, now printf, once I declare the variable, right, enter marks. Okay, once I get that input from the user, ampersand marks. Okay, okay, next is, right, once we get the input, declaration is done, right, input is done. The next thing is start finding the grade of the student. If marks marks is greater than or equal to 70, logical and of marks less than or equal to 100 means, what is the meaning of this? You know, logical and will become true when both the inputs are non-zero or both the inputs are true. Okay, now if the marks is above 70 or equal to 70, and also it must be less than or equal to 100. So if it is true, then I will print the message as first class with distinction. Okay, I'll print the message as first class with distinction. Else, if I will check the marks, now I'll check the marks. Is it greater than or equal to 60? And logical and of marks less than or equal to 69. Okay, if this is the case, then what we have to do, right, we have to print it as only first class, right, we need to print it as only first class. Then again check one more condition. So else if, check one more condition, else if marks is greater than or equal to 35, logical and of marks less than or equal to 59, then we can print it as second class. If the condition is true, we can print it as second class. Now else, now else printf fail, right? Are you understanding this? The next part. Okay, I'll just take this code, okay, and put it in the writing pad. Else block is optional. If you want to skip, you can skip it. Let us execute it and check. Okay, if I give the marks as 89, first class with distinction, you give the marks as 54, second class, you give the marks as 67, first class, you give the marks as 24, fail, right? So this is how it works. Okay, now you can see that for if block, else block, or everywhere I did not put a bracket. See, these brackets, what we are putting here, these are optional if you have only one statement inside the block, right? You can see that if block contains only one statement, so braces are optional, even in the else block also, right? So you can write here, okay, you can write here, braces are optional, right? Braces are optional. Note, braces are optional if there is only one statement in the block. If there is only one statement in block. Okay, are you understanding it? Okay, but if you have, right, if you have more than one statement, if we have more than one statement in a block, braces are braces are right, mandatory. Braces are mandatory. Okay, braces are mandatory. Okay, right, are you understanding? So I hope all the concepts are. See, if you have more than one statement inside, if let's say there is a some random condition, print f hello, okay, and print f word, okay, print f word. Now, if you want to tell, right, if you want to tell, right, both statements are inside the if you want to tell a compiler that these two printf statements belong to if block, then you should put them in a bracket. This will tell compiler that both printf are inside the if, right? If you don't put braces, right, if you don't put braces, now what will happen? Compiler will take only this statement is inside the if and this is outside the if. So you need to understand, right, braces are optional only when you are having one statement, right? If you don't put braces, compiler will assume it as only one statement in the if, right? Remaining all statements are outside if. Are you clear with that, Gavin? One second, guys. Okay, guys. Okay, I'm sorry for keeping you on hold, right? Next control statement comes is switch. The next one is switch. Okay, the next one is switch. Switch is exactly like else if ladder. Switch works exactly like, right, okay, else if ladder. Same situation as else if ladder, right? Same situation, right? Else if ladder. You can use switch. It is an alternate option. So the syntax of right switch statement is switch keyword, okay, switch keyword followed by expression, opening bracket, okay, case value 1, right, statement 1 and break, okay, case value 2, statements 2, break. So like this you can have any number of case keyword. Now in the end you can have default block, right, statement n, statement n. Now, right, so here, okay, now remember that in this case for the default I have missed a bracket there. Many people will think that break is optional for default. It is not that way. We need to correct that statement. Okay, first let us understand the explanation here. Let us understand the explanation, right? So first when the control comes to switch, right, when control, right, enters inside switch, enters inside switch. So the first thing it does is it searches for case keyword, case keyword. It searches for case keyword. Okay, it searches for case keyword, right? And then compares, compares, right, expression with case value, with case value, right? If matches, if matches, right, the block will be executed. The block is executed. Then break comes out of switch, comes out of switch. So this is the first step. I'll explain you what it is now. When the control enters inside the switch, right, it will start searching for case keywords, right? It starts searching for the case keyword, right? And then it will match the expression with value, case value. If it matches with value 1, then it will execute the statement 1, break comes out of switch. Break comes out of switch. Suppose if it does not match, suppose if it does not match, right, case value 1, again it will search for another case value and it will compare the expression with value 2. If it matches with statement 2, then statement 2 will be executed and break gets executed, it comes out of switch. Okay, so like this it searches for, right? Okay, part 2 of explanation, right? So if match not found, match not found, right, it search for another case keyword, another case keyword. Okay, another case keyword. Okay, now if there is no match with any case value, match with any case value, then it executes, it executes, it executes default block. It executes default block. Have you understood the explanation? If you have understood the explanation, then I'll continue. We'll start with an example. Gavin Dunn, Srinidhi and China. Are you clear with this? What does the default statement? See, China, default means if, see, let me show you. When the compiler is searching for the case keyword, if it matches with value 1, then fine. If it doesn't match, then search for another case value, match it with it. If it doesn't match, then if all the case conditions fail, if the result of expression does not match with any case value, automatically it will go to, or it will search for the default keyword and it will execute that block. If all condition fails, then this will be executed, right? Default means if nothing is working, then do this, right? If none of the case values are matching, then execute default. This is the meaning. So also remember that default block is optional. Just like in else if ladder, We saw that else block was optional. Similarly, in switch also default block is optional. If the user wants to, right, use a default block according to his requirement, he can use default block, or else he can, right, skip it. Okay, are you understanding? Okay, now let's take one example and understand, right, it better. Okay, I'll just write a rough way of understanding it. Switch I value case 1 printf hello, right, case, sorry, break here. Okay, case 2 printf word break, right, and default block printf class. As we know that break is optional for default, we will skip it for a moment. Now, can you tell me what is the output if I give I is equal to 1? So, for which case value it matches and it prints what? So, what is the output? Case 1 will be executed. The output will be hello. If I give I is equal to 2, what will be the output? Obviously, world, correct? Obviously, Gavin. Okay, now it is world, correct? Now, if I give I is equal to 7, is it matching with any of the case values? No, right? Then obviously, right, obviously the output will be class, correct? The output, is it matching with case value 1 I value, is it matching with case 1? No. Is it matching with case 2? No. Then automatically do we have any more cases there? No. Automatically it will go to default and it will execute class, right? So the output for this is class. Are you understanding? Once this is executed, automatically the control comes out, right? Now I will do a slight modification here. Now I will make this as default, okay, and this as case 1, and let's keep a break here. Now what is the output when I give I is equal to 1? Please respond, all of you. What is the output, right, when I give I is equal to 1? If you need a mic permission, I'll give a mic permission to all of you. You can unmute and talk. Huh. What is the output? Output will be class, correct? When I is equal to 2, what will be the output? When I is equal to 2, what will be the output? When I is equal to 2, what will be the output? Exactly, the word. Now when I is equal to 5, what is the output? When I is equal to 5, what is the output? Okay, okay. When I is equal to 5, it searches for the case value 1. Is it matching? No. Case value 2, is it matching? No. It doesn't match. Then it will search for the default block. It will go there and it will execute hello, right? The output will be hello. After that, do we have a break statement here? No. So what will happen? It will continue executing. It will execute world also. So the output will be hello and world. both printf will be executed because we do not have a break statement there. We do not have a break statement there. Are you understanding? Okay, are you understanding this? It will execute both the statements because there is no break. Now if you look at this situation, in this situation, don't you think we need to put a break here to execute it correctly? Correct. Now look at this last one. Look at the last one. Do we require a break statement here? If this statement is executed, if this block is executed, it will automatically come out because it is present in the last. Correct. So instead of saying that break is optional for default, we should always say that first point, break is optional for the last case in switch. For last case in switch. So if you are writing case, then break is optional here. If you write default here in the last, then break is optional for that. Right? This is the correct statement. Are you understanding? Right? Everybody is clear on that? Now. Okay, good. Now, what is the output? What is the output now? What is the output? Getting confused? Getting confused? See, I told you that when the control enters inside the switch, it searches for case keyword. Is there anybody who can tell me, sir, when compiler searches for case keyword, it will get this one or it will get this one? No, you can't predict. This is called as ambiguity situation. So this is nothing but error, right? Means, right? Duplicate case values. Duplicate case values are not allowed. Not allowed. Duplicate case values are not allowed. Duplicate case values are not allowed. Are you understanding? Now suppose if I give 1.5 and 2.5 and give the I value as 1.5, what will be the output? What will be the output if I give 1.5? Now again it gives error because case value cannot be float or double, right? So case switch supports switch supports only, right? Switch supports only int and character. Switch supports only integer and character. You cannot have a float values here. You cannot have a float values. Another example is int a is equal to 2, a and 1. Okay. If I give I is equal to 2, what will happen here? Again this will give error. This will give error because you cannot write variables here. You cannot write variables as, right, case values. Case value must be constant, right? You can write it here. Case value must be constant. Case value must be constant. Are you clear on all the concepts of, right, control switch, the entire details about switch? Are you clear on that part? Yes, yes, Gavin. If you don't put break anywhere, it will print all the statements. No, A is not a character. Srinidhi, A is not a character. This is a variable name. If you want to write a character, you should write it in single quote, right? I have not put any single quote, which indicates it's a variable. Whenever you are writing a character must be written in a single quote to tell compiler that it is a character. Are you getting my point? Are you clear, Srinidhi, Gavin, and China? Okay, super. Well done. Now there are few more are there, just one or two, right? Sixth one, okay. Break statement. What is the use of this? It is used. It is used to bring the control to bring the control, right, out of block, right? So where all we can use it, right? This is the first point. Second point, we can use break only in loop or switch. You can't use it in another control statements. You can use it only inside a loop or a switch. You can't use it anywhere else, right? This is about break. And there is another keyword called as continue. I'll give an example for this keyword during loops. First one, right? It is used to skip current iteration. To skip current iteration. Iteration. Once again, it is used to skip current iteration. It is used to skip current iteration. Okay. I'll explain this during loop concept, right? And it can be used only inside the loop. Only inside loop. Okay. It can be used only inside a loop. Okay. So this finishes your control statements.